You've been searching for answers, for motivation, for that one secret that's finally going to unlock the life you've always wanted. And maybe you've been convinced it's out there, buried in a book, hidden in a podcast, sitting in someone else's advice. But let me tell you something you might not want to hear. You already have it. Every ounce of strength, every drop of courage, every bit of wisdom you think you're missing, it's been sitting inside you all along. Think about it. You've survived things you once thought would break you. You figured out problems when you had no roadmap. You've shown up even when you didn't feel ready. That's not luck. That's not magic from the outside. That's you. We all know what it feels like to doubt ourselves. That voice in your head that says, you're not ready. You're not smart enough. You're not like them. It creeps in before you take a risk, before you step on stage, before you open your mouth in that meeting. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't matter how many times you've proven yourself in the past. You could have a list of wins a mile long, but that inner critic shows up anyway. Now here's the paradox. While you're busy letting self-doubt run the show, you're forgetting the truth. Everything you need, you already have. Every single time you've been knocked down, you've figured out a way back up. Every single time you were lost, you eventually found your way forward. That's not because the world magically delivered the answers. It's because you, yes you, pulled yourself through. But when self-doubt takes over, it blinds you to that evidence. It convinces you that your strength doesn't count. It tells you that was just luck. You just got by. That wasn't really you. And so you keep looking outward for permission, for proof, for some kind of guarantee that you're capable. Let me give you a truth bomb. You will never find it out there because nobody else can hand you confidence. Nobody else can prove to you what you've already proven to yourself over and over again. The magic we're talking about, the hidden power in you, doesn't look like fireworks or some giant overnight transformation. It's subtle. It's the quiet persistence you've shown when nobody was watching. It's the times you stayed up late, working on something that mattered, when it would have been easier to quit. It's the courage it took just to keep going, even when your hands were shaking, even when your stomach was tight with fear. That's the magic, but self-doubt makes it invisible. Here's the truth, self-doubt is loud. It shouts in your head. It repeats itself until you start believing it. But your power, your real unstoppable magic is quieter. It whispers, it nudges. And most of the time, you dismiss it before it has the chance to grow. Think about a time you thought you weren't going to make it through something. Maybe it was a breakup. Maybe it was financial stress. Maybe it was a setback at school or work. At the time, you probably thought, this is it. I don't have what it takes. I can't do this. And yet you did. You're here breathing, standing, listening to this right now. That's proof of your hidden power. But here's the problem. We don't catalog those wins. We don't put them on display like trophies. We barely acknowledge them. And because of that, we forget how powerful we actually are. Self-doubt thrives in that forgetting. It grows in the shadows of your own memory. It feeds off the moments you ignore the evidence of your resilience. And unless you consciously stop and say, wait a second, I've been through worse. I've handled this before. I've got what it takes. You'll keep believing the lie that you're not enough. And I'll tell you something else, doubt doesn't mean you're weak. Doubt means you're human. Every single person you look up to has felt it. The difference is some people stop listening to it. They recognize that doubt is just a thought, not a prophecy. And they choose to act anyway. That's where your hidden power shows up. Not in the absence of doubt, but in your decision to move forward despite it. That moment when you're scared, uncertain, and every voice in your head is telling you to back off, but you take the step anyway. That's when you meet the real you, the powerful you, the you that's been there all along. So the next time you feel that wave of doubt, I want you to pause. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. Just notice it. And then remind yourself of the truth. If I've done hard things before, I can do this too. The magic I'm looking for isn't out there. It's already in me. That shift, that choice to trust yourself in the face of doubt, that's where everything begins to change. Because self-doubt will always knock on the door, but your hidden power, that's what opens it. We have this strange habit of dismissing our own strength. We think of resilience like it has to be some big, heroic act, saving lives, climbing mountains, making headlines. But here's the truth: your everyday struggles are the clearest proof of your power. The very fact that you're standing here today means you've already faced challenges that, at the time, felt impossible. Think back. How many times have you said, "I can't do this," and yet somehow you did? How many mornings did you wake up not knowing how you'd get through the day, but you still put one foot in front of the other? That's not weakness. That's evidence. Evidence that you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. The problem is we rarely count those moments. We don't put them in the win column. Instead, we brush them aside, saying, "Well, that's just life. That's what anyone would do." But that's not true. Not everyone gets back up. Not everyone pushes through. You did, and that matters. Maybe you've worked a job you didn't love just to keep the lights on. Maybe you've sat with heartbreak and still managed to show up for others. Maybe you've struggled in silence with anxiety, pressure, or fear, and yet you kept moving. Every single one of those moments is proof that you have a reservoir of magic inside you, a quiet power that surfaces exactly when you need it. But here's where most of us get it wrong. We're so focused on the big finish line, the dream job, the perfect relationship, the big breakthrough, that we overlook the small victories we've already won. We discount the times we held it together when things were falling apart. We act like surviving doesn't count. Let me tell you something: surviving counts, enduring counts, showing up counts. You don't need to wait for some massive achievement to prove your worth. The proof is already in your story. It's written in the struggles you've overcome, the storms you've weathered, and the moments you thought you couldn't handle, but did. Think about it like this: life is a series of tests. And every test you faced, you passed, because you're still here. That doesn't mean you came out without scars. It doesn't mean it was easy. But it does mean you had the grit, the courage, and the strength to keep going when quitting felt like the easier option. And that's important because we tend to believe that strength has to feel good. But most of the time, it doesn't. Strength doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like exhaustion, frustration, and still choosing to try again. It feels like crying in the shower and then walking out with your head held high. It feels like carrying the weight of doubt, fear, and pain, and not letting it break you. That's strength. That's magic. You might not recognize it in yourself because you're living it. You're in the middle of the storm, and it just feels like chaos. But let me remind you, storms don't last, they pass. And when they do, you're left with proof that you're still standing. So why does this matter? Because when you forget the struggles you've already overcome, you rob yourself of the confidence you deserve to have. You walk into new challenges, acting like you're starting from scratch, when in reality, you're walking in with an undefeated record. Every obstacle you face has prepared you for the next one. Every setback has sharpened your strength. Every scar is evidence of survival. And that means the next time you doubt yourself, you don't need to go looking for external validation. You don't need to wait for someone else to tell you you're capable. All you have to do is look back. Remember the late nights, the hard days, the moments you thought you couldn't do it, and remind yourself, if I've already made it through that, I can make it through this. Your everyday struggles are not just challenges, they're training. They've built the muscle of resilience, even when you didn't realize it. And that muscle, that inner strength, is your magic. It's proof that you don't need to keep searching for some miracle outside yourself. You already are the miracle. So stop dismissing what you've lived through. Stop downplaying your survival as just getting by. You've done more than just get by. You've proven again and again that no matter what life throws at you, you find a way. Accident. That's not luck. That's you. That's your hidden power. And it's been with you all along. We all have this word we lean on. It sneaks into our thoughts, it sits quietly in our excuses, and it feels harmless until it steals years of our lives. That word is someday. Someday I'll start my business. Someday I'll get serious about my health. Someday I'll find the right person, the right time, the right opportunity. Someday I'll finally feel ready. And here's the truth. You and I both know that someday never comes. It's an illusion. It's a trick we play on ourselves to delay action, to stay safe, to avoid the discomfort of actually starting. We think waiting will prepare us. We think the future will deliver some magical version of us who suddenly has more courage, more confidence, more clarity. But if you don't practice courage now, what makes you think you'll have it later? The danger of someday is that it convinces you you're being patient, when really you're just postponing your own life. It whispers, don't worry, you've got time. Just wait until things feel easier or until you feel more certain. But here's the harsh truth. Waiting doesn't make things easier. Waiting doesn't give you certainty. Waiting just strengthens your fear. Think about all the things you've already delayed because of that word. How many opportunities have passed you by while you were waiting for the right moment? How many ideas have you buried because you told yourself, not yet, someday? How many times have you looked back and thought, if I just started then, I'd be so much further ahead now? That's the cost of someday. But let's flip it. Imagine for a moment if you had taken action the first time you felt the pull to do something. Maybe it was starting that side hustle. Maybe it was going to the gym. Maybe it was reaching out to someone you admire. Where would you be today? How much further would you have grown? The illusion of someday makes you forget the power of today. And today, the messy, imperfect, uncertain moment you're in right now is the only one you ever truly have. And here's the kicker, you don't need to feel ready to begin. You don't need all the answers to take the first step. Readiness doesn't come before action. It comes after. Confidence doesn't show up in advance. It's built in the doing. And the people you admire, they don't have a special talent for someday. They just stopped waiting. They understood that waiting is a slow form of self-sabotage. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying preparation isn't important. I'm not saying planning doesn't matter. But there's a difference between preparing and procrastinating. Preparing moves you forward. Procrastinating convinces you that you're moving forward, while you're standing completely still. And some days the mask procrastination wears when it wants to look innocent. So how do you break free from this illusion? You start by getting honest with yourself. Ask, what am I really waiting for? What story am I telling myself about why I can't start today? Because 9 times out of 10, the reason you're waiting isn't about time, money, or resources. It's about fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear that you'll try and it won't work out. But here's the thing, avoiding action doesn't avoid failure. It just guarantees regret. At least if you start, you learn. At least if you act, you grow. At least if you try, you give yourself a chance. The truth is, there is no perfect time. There is only now. And if you keep waiting for someday, you'll look up one day and realize your someday turned into never. So the question you need to ask yourself is this: are you willing to trade the life you want for the illusion of safety that someday gives you? Or are you ready to stop waiting, to start messy, and to trust that the magic you're looking for will reveal itself once you take the first step? Because here's what I know. The life you want doesn't arrive on someday. It begins the moment you decide that today is enough. And it is. Today is enough. You are enough. And you've always had what it takes. You just need to stop hiding it behind that one dangerous word. Momentum is the secret sauce of progress. It's invisible, yet it's the difference between feeling alive and feeling stuck. And here's the truth: momentum doesn't come from waiting. It doesn't come from planning endlessly, analyzing every angle, or waiting for the perfect moment. Momentum comes from action. Bold, decisive, uncomfortable action. One step forward, one choice to risk, one commitment to yourself. Momentum begins there. Think about the last time you actually did something that scared you. Maybe it was speaking up in a room full of people, asking for a promotion, or finally starting a project you had been dreaming about for months. Remember the surge of energy afterward? That spark that made you feel like anything was possible. That's momentum. That's the power of action. Now compare it to the times you hesitated. You waited for clarity that never came. You sat frozen thinking, I'll do it tomorrow, next week, next month. And what happened? Nothing, absolutely nothing. The dream didn't get closer. The fear didn't disappear. You were stuck in the exact same place, wondering why life seemed so heavy and stagnant. That's hesitation. And hesitation is the enemy of progress. Here's the thing: bold moves, no matter how small, compound. They create energy that carries you forward. They give you confidence. They prove to your mind, body, and soul that you are capable of more than you thought. Momentum doesn't care if you win or fail at first. It only cares that you move. Because once you're moving, every next step feels easier. Every challenge feels manageable. Every obstacle becomes a chance to push further. Let me give you a real-world example. A single phone call, just one. Maybe it's a call to a client, a mentor, or someone you've been afraid to reach out to. That one call can start a chain reaction. One bold move sparks another. Suddenly, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities appear that you never would have found while sitting still. That's the power of momentum. Action creates motion, and motion creates results. Contrast that with hesitation. Hesitation multiplies self-doubt. It tells you, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I can't do it. Every day you wait, fear grows stronger. Every moment you stay stuck, momentum dies before it even begins. And the most frustrating part, you start convincing yourself that inaction is actually the safe choice. It's not. It's the quiet thief of dreams. Bold moves aren't about being reckless. They're about taking intentional, courageous steps toward what matters most. Momentum is built by showing up even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels impossible. Momentum is built by choosing action over analysis paralysis. Momentum is built by deciding today that you're not going to wait for life to hand you an opportunity. You're going to create it. And here's the beautiful part: momentum is contagious. The more you act, the braver you become. The more risks you take, the more doors open. Your confidence grows, your energy grows. Your life starts moving in a direction you can actually see. And once that momentum starts, it doesn't just help you achieve one goal. It propels you into everything you've ever wanted to achieve. Hesitation, on the other hand, leads to regret, stagnation, a life that feels heavy and unfulfilled. Momentum is living, hesitation is surviving. And if you want a life that excites you, challenges you, and fills you with pride, there's only one choice: bold action. Start now. Start small if you must, but start. Because every bold move is a push against fear, a step toward growth, and the spark that keeps momentum alive. The moment you act, hesitation loses. The moment you move, your future starts catching up to you. And the life you've been dreaming about, it's not going to wait for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to start moving. Here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Not a perfect moment, not a magical moment, but the real moment. The moment when you stop looking outside yourself for answers and start realizing that everything you've been searching for has been inside you all along. This is your call to awakening. Awakening doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. It doesn't mean fear disappears or doubt fades completely. Awakening means you stop ignoring the truth about yourself. It means you stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're ready. It means you finally see the power, the courage, and the magic you've been carrying quietly, patiently your whole life. Think about all the times you felt stuck. Maybe you blamed circumstances. Maybe you blamed other people. Maybe you blamed yourself. And yet somehow you kept going. Somehow you made it through. That's proof. Proof that you have everything you need. The awakening happens the moment you recognize that truth and stop wasting time searching for it elsewhere. Here's the thing, life isn't going to hand you a sign. The universe isn't going to send an email saying, now is your time. You have to create your own signal. You have to decide, I'm done waiting. I'm done doubting. I'm done pretending that someone else holds the key to my life. The key has been in your hands all along. And yes, it's scary. Awakening always is. When you realize your potential, the weight of responsibility hits. When you realize you've been holding the magic all along, you can no longer blame luck, timing, or anyone else. You have to step up. You have to act. And that's the kind of fear that feels alive, because it means you're finally on the edge of something real. But here's the thing, fear is temporary. Regret is permanent, and nothing feels worse than looking back and realizing you could have done it all along, but you didn't. Don't let that be your story. The moment you wake up to your own power, you change the trajectory of your life. You stop settling for less. You stop waiting for validation. You stop asking permission. Awakening is not a single event. It's a series of choices. The choice to speak up when silence feels safer. The choice to try when failure seems inevitable. The choice to trust yourself when everyone else doubts you. Every single decision like that fans the flame of your inner magic until it's no longer a spark. It's a fire that can't be ignored. And here's the most beautiful part. When you awaken, you start to see it in everyone else too. You start to recognize the hidden power in the people around you. You begin to understand that everyone has a spark. They've just been told to look outside themselves instead of inside. And when you live awakened, you inspire others to awaken as well. So today, right here, right now, I'm calling on you. Stop waiting for life to feel ready. Stop waiting for someone else to approve of you. Stop looking for the magic somewhere outside yourself. The magic is already here. It's been inside you all along. It's been quietly waiting for you to notice, to believe, to act. Your awakening doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It just has to start. Take one step, one decision, one action that proves to yourself that you are capable, you are powerful, and you are ready. And once you take that step, everything changes. Suddenly, the impossible feels possible. Suddenly, fear becomes fuel.